Cameroon is a country in Central Africa with a rich, complex, and fascinating history. Often called Africa in miniature, Cameroon has deserts in the north, rainforests in the south, mountains in the west, and a long Atlantic coastline. Because of this diversity, many different peoples, cultures, languages, and kingdoms developed there over thousands of years. The history of Cameroon is a story of ancient civilizations, powerful kingdoms, European colonization, struggles for independence, and the ongoing journey of building a modern nation. Long before Europeans arrived, Cameroon was already home to many early human communities. Archaeological evidence shows that humans lived in this region for tens of thousands of years. Some of the earliest known inhabitants were hunter-gatherers, including the ancestors of today's Baka and Bageli forest peoples. These communities lived closely with nature, hunting animals and gathering fruits, roots, and plants from the dense forests. Over time, farming and metalworking began to spread across the region. Around 1000 BCE, ironworking technology appeared, allowing people to make stronger tools and weapons. This helped communities farm more land and grow crops such as millet, yams, and later bananas. As agriculture improved, populations grew and villages became larger and more organized. One of the most important movements in Cameroon's early history was the Bantu migration. Between about 2000 BCE and 1000 CE, Bantu-speaking peoples moved from the region near present-day Nigeria and Cameroon into Central, Eastern, and Southern Africa. Cameroon was a key starting point for this migration. These Bantu groups brought farming skills, iron tools, and new languages, many of which are still spoken in Cameroon today. By the first millennium CE, several organized societies and kingdoms began to form. In northern Cameroon, powerful Islamic states emerged as part of the larger Sahelian world. The Kanem-Bornu Empire, centered around Lake Chad, influenced northern Cameroon for centuries. Through trade and Islamic learning, northern regions became connected to North Africa and the Middle East. In the western highlands of Cameroon, strong kingdoms developed, such as the Bamang and the various grassfields chiefdoms. These societies had kings, councils, and complex traditions. The Bamang kingdom, founded around the late 14th century, became especially well known. Its rulers created systems of administration, art, and even a unique writing system invented by King Njoya in the late 19th century. Along the coast and southern forests, other groups such as the Douala, Bassa, and Beti lived in organized communities. Coastal peoples became skilled traders, connecting inland communities with traders from across the Atlantic. Long before European colonization, Africans were already trading goods like ivory, palm oil, and spices. The first Europeans to reach Cameroon were the Portuguese in the late 15th century. In 1472, Portuguese explorers arrived at the Wuri River and noticed many shrimp in the water. They named it Rio dos Camarões, meaning River of Shrimp. This name later became Cameroon. Portuguese mainly focused on trade and did not establish full colonies at that time. Over the next few centuries, other European powers, such as the Dutch, British, and French, also came to the Cameroonian coast. Trade increased, including the tragic transatlantic slave trade. Although Cameroon was not one of the largest slave-exporting regions, many people were still captured and sold, deeply affecting communities and families. By the 19th century, European interest in Africa grew stronger due to industrialization. European countries wanted raw materials, new markets, and political power. This period is known as the Scramble for Africa. During this time, Germany became interested in Cameroon. In 1884, Germany officially declared Cameroon a German colony called Cameroon. The Germans signed treaties with local rulers, especially along the coast, but many Africans did not fully understand or accept these agreements. German rule was often harsh. They used forced labor to build plantations, roads, and railways. Cash crops such as cocoa, coffee, rubber, and bananas were grown mainly for export to Europe. Despite repression, many Cameroonians resisted German rule. There were uprisings and acts of resistance, especially in areas where land was taken for plantations. However, German military power was strong, and resistance movements were often crushed violently. German rule lasted until World War I. When the war began in 1914, British and French forces attacked German colonies in Africa. After heavy fighting, Germany was defeated in Cameroon in 1916. The colony was taken over by Britain and France. After the war, the League of Nations divided Cameroon between Britain and France as mandate territories. France received the larger portion, known as French Cameroon, while Britain controlled two smaller areas along the Nigerian border, called British Northern Cameroons and British Southern Cameroons. French Cameroon was governed using a centralized system. France tried to spread French language, culture, and education. Roads, schools, and hospitals were built, but mainly to serve colonial interests. Many Cameroonians were forced to work and pay taxes. French rule also limited political freedom. British Cameroon was governed differently. Britain ruled its territories indirectly, using local chiefs and linking British Cameroons closely with Nigeria. English was used in administration and education. This difference in colonial systems later became very important in Cameroon's history. After World War II, ideas of freedom and independence spread across Africa. Cameroonians began to demand self-rule and an end to colonial control. Political parties and nationalist movements were formed. One of the most important was the Union of the Peoples of Cameroon, known as the UPC. The UPC demanded immediate independence and the reunification of British and French Cameroons. The French authorities saw the UPC as dangerous and banned it in 1955. This led to protests, violence, and a long guerrilla war, especially in western and southern regions. Thousands of people were killed during this conflict. Despite the violence, progress toward independence continued. On January 1, 1960, French Cameroon became independent and was renamed the Republic of Cameroon. Amadou Ahidjo became the country's first president. The future of British Cameroons was decided through United Nations organized plebiscites in 1961. People were asked whether they wanted to join Nigeria or the Republic of Cameroon. British Northern Cameroons voted to join Nigeria, while British Southern Cameroons voted to join Cameroon. On October 1, 1961, British Southern Cameroons joined the Republic of Cameroon, forming the Federal Republic of Cameroon. The country now had two states: East Cameroon, former French area, and West Cameroon, former British area. Both English and French were recognized as official languages. Over time, power became more centralized. In 1972, President Ahidjo held a referendum that replaced the federal system with a unitary state. The country was renamed the United Republic of Cameroon, later becoming the Republic of Cameroon again in 1984. Amadou Ahidjo ruled Cameroon with a strong hand. Although the country was relatively stable compared to some neighbors, political opposition was not tolerated. In 1982, Ahidjo resigned and handed power to Paul Biya, who became president. In 1984, there was an attempted coup against President Biya, which failed. After this, Biya strengthened his control over the country. He has remained in power for decades, making him one of Africa's longest-serving leaders. During the 1990s, pressure for democracy increased across Africa. Cameroon introduced multi-party politics in 1990. Opposition parties were allowed, but elections were often criticized as unfair. Political tension remained high. In recent years, Cameroon has faced serious challenges. One major issue is the Anglophone crisis. English-speaking regions, mainly in the northwest and southwest, have complained of marginalization by the French-speaking majority. Protests that began in 2016 later turned into violent conflict between separatist groups and government forces. Cameroon has also faced security threats from Boko Haram in the far north, economic difficulties, and social problems. Despite these challenges, the country remains culturally rich and resilient. Today, Cameroon is home to over 250 ethnic groups and more than 200 languages. Its people are known for music, football, art, and strong community life. While its history includes pain and conflict, it also includes creativity, strength, and hope. Understanding the history of Cameroon helps us understand its present. It is a country shaped by ancient traditions, colonial borders, and modern struggles. As Cameroon moves forward, its long and complex history continues to influence its path toward peace, unity, and development.